Welcome back and thank you for joining us once again on our journey to the Russian Arctic. In our last video we journeyed to the village of Teribierka, which is located on the Russian Arctic coast. In the evening we drove back through a big blizzard to the city of Murmansk. So in this video we will explore the city more in detail. During our last video we will walk through the city of Murmansk, exploring its history and its beautiful landscape. So sit back and relax and join us for our last bit of this journey. Well, a very good morning from Murmansk. So last night after returning from Teribierka we went and booked in straight to our apartment and just took an early night. Just watched the film, relaxed a bit. Has been quite a long few days. But today we're taking a walk through Murmansk, seeing some of the main sites, So we went to Alyosha, the statue, the other night. But there are many more other things to see though that we're going to have a look at now. So this is a nice view of the city of Murmansk. It's now currently almost 12 o'clock in the afternoon, middle of the day. And that's the only amount of daylight we'll get. The sun doesn't rise completely. It's just a bit of sun rays coming up over there in the distance. And then looking across the vast city of Murmansk. It's quite a spectacular view that we have here with the sun shining a little bit there in the back. So behind me, this lighthouse is actually a monument. It was built to honor all the seamen that lost their lives during peacetime out in the ocean and out at sea. This memorial complex was officially opened on October 5th, 2002 for the City Day. At 5:30 in the evening Moscow time, all the Murmansk ships and those who were on the roadstead in Kola Bay and which crossed the world ocean marked the opening of the memorial with a long horn. Behind me we have a very special monument. Now this piece of metal is a part of the Kursk submarine. Now on 12 August in the year 2000 there was a major submarine accident here in Russia where there were two explosions that happened on the Kursk submarine out in the Barents Sea. Now both the explosions were felt by nearby ships from the Russian Navy, but they didn't initiate a rescue until about 6 hours later. And also it has been said that the rescue buoy of the submarine has been intentionally disabled, and it took the Navy about 16 hours to actually locate the wreckage. And with this terrible accident, all 118 crew members lost their lives during that accident. So not only does this monument commemorate the lives lost on the Kursk submarine accident, but if you look closely, here's a plaque showing all the names of different submarines from the Russian Navy where people have lost their lives and all the accidents that have happened. So it's truly quite a remarkable and special monument. This is truly a powerful place, with the commemorating of all the sailors who lost their lives, specifically there by the Kursk Memorial. Now another part of the complex is that church over there. It's called the Church of the Savior on Waters. So it's actually, it's an Orthodox church that got its name from the icon of Christ walking on waters. And the church also forms part of the complex of the sailors that lost their lives during peacetime. So we are now walking to the Victory Park of Murmansk, and then we're going to climb up to the statue of Alyosha. So here we go, Murmansk's Victory Park, commemorating all the lives lost during the Second World War, or the Great Patriotic War, as it's known in Russia.
Well, according to the note, also over 1,500, nearly 2,000 houses were destroyed during the air attacks, and only to the center of the city there were over 12,000 bombs thrown, and the city also carries the name of the heroic city, also because of the citizens being very generous and hardworking, because they caught over 85 tons of fish and gave it to the front line, and also they gave over 10 tons of blood to the injured soldiers.
Over there is Semyon Lake. Big lake actually, yeah, where you in winter can go ice skating, skiing across the lake. And over there is what they would call the Morsh house, or the walrus house. If you want to go ice swimming in the lake, you go over there, prove your toughness, prove that you have thick skin like a walrus, and you go swim in the icy water over there by that little house. Right, so now we are gonna hike up the hill to the Alyosha statue. So it's quite a nice hike. I remember I did it back in summer. Now we're gonna do it in winter. Let's see if we can see the route though, because there's quite a lot of snow. And we'll get to the top for a nice view while we still have a bit of daylight left. Quite a view we're getting here. We're looking over the big lake, Semyonovskoye Lake. Hard to say for me. But we're almost there. We're like halfway to Alyosha statue. But it's really a beautiful walk here. Really amazing. I did it in summer, like I mentioned. And in winter, it's just a different landscape, looking at the icicles all over the trees. You know, it's like a fairy tale. So we're almost at the top, but there's a lot of mist today. It's also because of the pollution. And as you can see, Alyosha is covered in clouds or mist. So I don't think we'll have a great view from there, but still, this hike is definitely worth it. up the hill to Alyosha, and we're greeted with the names of all the Euro cities of the Second World War. For example, Smolensk, Tula, Minsk, Novorossiysk, and the names just continue on all the way on the one side of the great Alyosha statue. So yeah, let's explore this area again a little bit in daylight. It's really fascinating being up here in the light because of the Arctic. The fact that we're in the Arctic and the sun doesn't really rise gives like a strange light in the air. Like, look at that. It's not actually the sun that's up, it's just some sun rays coming up from, you know, far away. Here we have the name Murmansk itself of this great Euro city. So right in front of the great Alyosha statue is the eternal flame, which you find in probably almost every big city in Russia. Now that flame burns like day and night, 24/7, and it commemorates also the lives being lost during the Second World War. And it's just amazing having it right here by this magnificent statue of Alyosha. And like I mentioned before, it looks towards the west, where the German troops were turned around by the Red Army during the Second World War. Continuing our hike through the Murmansk landscape, it's really beautiful. It's just unfortunate, you know, what happens with all the pollution that's in this city during winter with the cold temperatures. It forms like this mist that covers the whole city. So actually behind me is the whole Kola Bay, and I remember when I was at this exact spot during summer, you know, when it's obviously a bit warmer, and then I could see the whole Kola Bay with the mountains in the background and the ships and all that. But now you can't see anything at all, just this frozen landscape. But it's still really spectacular and quite awe-inspiring to watch and walk around. So we are continuing following another path, trying to get there, back to those buildings, because I want to go to a statue called the Statue of the Waiting Woman, which has quite an interesting story. But yeah, just a matter of getting out of here and finding the right route, because there are some cliffs here. You don't want to walk actually on that side because it's just a straight drop off over there. So we managed to find a route down. We need to go through these bunch of garages and then around through some of the apartment areas to get to this statue that I find quite interesting. So this is what typical Russian garages look like. You know, if you come from South Africa, you're not really used to that, but this like an area with a bunch of small little, actually looks more like storage facilities, but people use them for storage. But you can actually park your car in them if your car is small enough. I think if you have a big pickup truck, or as we say in South Africa, a bakkie, it will not fit in here at all. Yeah, back in the Soviet Union, people didn't drive big pickup trucks or things like that. So they drove something like a small Zhiguli. And these garages were built during those times, so they're quite old. And obviously if you have a bigger car now, it might be a bit of a problem. But they were built for smaller cars, you know, for people back in those days. So we're walking past some of the apartment buildings. These apartment buildings over here behind me and over there are all 5-story. Now they were probably built in the 1950s, and the reason why they're only 5-story or 5 floors high is because the law required that any apartment block during that time, built during that time, that is higher than 5 stories needs to have an elevator installed. And obviously it costs more money. So they built them only up to 5 stories. Then they don't have to insert an elevator, only a staircase. And then by that they save a lot of money. So quite economical. And these buildings still stand, you know, and people still live in them after all these years. And yeah, there are the garages that we walked through earlier and I was talking about. And next to the apartment buildings we have a school. Still an old Soviet style school, you know, probably also built during the same time as the apartment buildings, and just renovated, kept in the same state as it is. You know, it's almost like Murmansk is a city still frozen in time back in the Soviet Union. So while walking down this path here next to these apartments, it's also clear to see that there's not a lot of money in Murmansk. So yeah, these apartments are quite old, like I've mentioned, but some of them seem like they haven't been properly renovated in a long time. You know, unfortunately in Russia, most of the money gets pumped into places like Moscow and sort of in St. Petersburg. Not really in all the other cities. And also salaries are much higher in places like Moscow. So, you know, moving into a place like Murmansk, you don't get a lot of money, unfortunately, unless if you work in the port. But you can really see that, you know, looking at the state of things, these buildings are not being renovated at all because there's clearly not enough money to do it. But one thing I can say actually is that Murmansk is quite tidy, and obviously except for the air quality, it's quite clean. You know, you can see that people really keep the place in order and functioning and really, really tidy. And it's really amazing to see, you know, even though the fact that, you know, this place does not have the finances like big cities like Moscow has, the people really try to take care of it and look after it, though, you know, with the little bit they have. There's someone going on a morning run. Well, not morning actually, it was already afternoon, but it looks like morning. So we finally made it to the monument of the waiting woman. Now, what does it resemble? For me, it's quite a powerful monument. So back in Soviet times, and obviously still today, a lot of the men living in Murmansk and, you know, around in these areas of Russia went to work on the ships. You know, they went out, you know, to fish in the Arctic Ocean where the seas can get quite rough. And they'll be out there for days, even weeks. And even, you know, during war times, you know, military ships were stationed here, and some of them are even stationed here still today. And the men would go out on the military ships, you know, during war times, and the women would wait for them to come back. And obviously, you know, tending to the house, looking after the children, waiting for their husbands to come back, never knowing if they would. So this monument commemorates all the women waiting for all the brave men coming back from sea. In front of the monument of the waiting women is actually a beautiful view. And yet again, unfortunately in winter, with all the pollution in the air from the factories in Murmansk, it creates this fog, this mist that covers everything, so you can't really see. So in summer, it's a good time to stand on this place and look here, because right there is the whole Kola Bay, actually, right there at the bottom. You see the ships right down there. Over there is another part where the ships anchor over there. And then right there, down there, is the Kola Bay. And you see all the ice right at the bottom there. It's still quite beautiful to see. Just unfortunately, you can't see very far from here. But I would recommend, just coming here, taking a few photos. Summertime, spectacular, because you see the green rolling hills and the big Kola Bay. So after our wonderful walk, we got into a taxi and drove to a very special statue of a little character. Now we're just wandering around the Semyonovskaya lake, all frozen up. Over there is the statue or little monument of Semyon the cat, which we will visit as well. And then I'll tell the story quickly about Semyon's heroic adventure. But anyway, the sun, or again not the sun rays, give a spectacular display in the sky. Now it's currently about 2:30 in the afternoon, and it just looks spectacular with these polar days actually with the light. So that little statue there of that cat, of that little fat plump cat, is a statue of Semyon the cat. So the story about Semyon is a family many years ago traveled to Moscow with their cat, and they lost the cat. Well, Semyon got lost. They eventually traveled to Murmansk, the city where they actually originally came from, and many years later a cat arrived at their door, and it was in fact actually Semyon, their own cat, that traveled all the way from from Moscow to the city of Murmansk, back to its home with his family. So that's why you get the little statue of Semyon the cat with his little traveling bag, as you can see. We are finishing up our walk and trying to head to the most famous restaurant in town called Tundra. But I doubt we'll get a spot because it's quite famous and always booked full. But why not? Let's have a look. Otherwise, I think we're going to end up eating food in some canteen or either cooking for ourselves at home. But anyway, still a great walk here. I mean, look at this, the trees with the lights. And then coming back to the city over here. And then the lake that they have over there. It's really an awesome day, seeing amazing spots of the great city of Murmansk. Waiting here by the bus stop for our taxi. I can really feel the temperature is dropping now. Earlier it was minus 16, I don't know what it is now, have a look. But yeah, it's definitely quite colder. So yeah, this is a typical Russian bus stop that you see here. People waiting there for the bus. We opted for a taxi since the taxis are actually quite affordable here compared to Moscow, where they charge ridiculous prices these days. I mean, the other day I took a taxi to work, or I wanted to take a taxi to work, and they wanted to charge me 2,500 ruble. This taxi is costing me 160 ruble. I mean, what a difference, yeah? So, anyway, let's see if we're lucky at a restaurant. If not, well, like I said, we'll opt for some canteen or just maybe cook some food at the apartment. It's just that I've really wanted to visit this restaurant since I've came here the first time to Murmansk, but I never had the chance. So we've arrived at the restaurant Tundra, where I've been dreaming of coming to. There's no line outside, but I have a feeling it's still booked full because actually it's Christmas Day in Russia today on the 7th of January. So let's see if we are lucky. So we are actually waiting in line at the restaurant. We're actually second from the front. There's a big line behind us that I don't really want to show. I don't want to be rude. But it seems that we will be lucky to have dinner finally in the Tundra restaurant. Yeah. So we made it inside, finally inside the Tundra restaurant. So just look at this, really cool. So the reason why I wanted to come here is because all the seafood and even the red meat is quite fresh. You know, in Murmansk region, the staple diet is venison and seafood. So the crabs are quite fresh, the fish is freshly caught, you know, right from the rivers and the Arctic Ocean right here, and obviously the reindeer from around in the area. We got a nice table though, which is quite cool. Over here we have a view of beautiful Murmansk over there. So yeah, looking forward to it. I ordered a lot of stuff. I ordered some of the local nastoikas, so let's see how it is.
So our drinks eventually arrived. We have two types of nastoika here, which I'm not going to drink. This one is based on northern berries. This is made of lingonberry, cranberry, and something else I don't remember.
Maroshka, I think.
No, there is no maroshka included. And this is horseradish one, which is basically horseradish and vodka. I believe it is quite a strong stuff. And then here is this lovely pot of tea, which is apparently a spicy mango, cloudberry, and sea buckthorn, also including ginger, honey, and some spices. I believe this is a very good stuff to drink during this winter time.
So over here we have some sea urchins. Inside is the caviar of the sea urchins, as you can see. So those yellow parts are all caviar. So in here we have 2 quail eggs with some soy sauce. So basically you eat it raw. You take the quail eggs, put it inside, mix it, and then you eat the caviar of the sea urchin. Last time I was here in summer, we actually went to catch sea urchins ourselves in Teribierka and actually ate them quite fresh. But these ones are also quite fresh. They come out of the fish tank right there at the back. So I like it. I find it quite tasty, and it's actually very good for your health. It gives you actually strong energy. So yeah.
Well, I have my starter arrived here, and as you can see, these are the tiger shrimps. I've decided to try them because, well, I've had them before, but I think being in such a special place as Murmansk, we need to try them so as to see the difference, and I am sure that this dish is going to be something very special and delicious.
So here we have some tartar, but this tartar is not beef or something, it's actually made from deer meat. So deer meat, obviously, much stronger taste than beef. I've eaten a lot of deer meat in my life before, and also a lot of, well, as we say in South Africa, game meat, because I mean it's a staple diet for us back in South Africa. So deer meat tastes quite similar to, for me, to some of the game meat we have in South Africa. But I've never had deer meat tartar before, so this is the first time. It looks quite tasty, so let's enjoy. Well, that was really a great experience, you know, truly worth it. I'm happy we made it in, and you know, and I'm happy that we stood in a line and waited. We waited about 40 minutes, which was long but not too bad. But in the end, you know, worth it. The food is amazing, the service is amazing. Truly an amazing restaurant. So you know what, I'll definitely be back. But now we need to walk back to our apartment, and it's currently minus 20 degrees Celsius outside. So yeah, fun, love the cold, so why not? Right, so we're quickly doing some fast shopping. We need water, other necessities, and we need some snacks because we just want to watch a film. We can have some ruskaya kartoshka or maybe your average Lays. But if you want to go very Russian Lays, hold you a second, I just want to show. Where is it? So you get lobster flavored Lays, and where's this other one? Crab flavored Lays, or you can have some caviar flavored Lays, which is utterly disgusting, this one. I love caviar, but this does not taste like caviar. It tastes like some off fish, in my opinion. Oh, talking about fish, you can buy yourself some dried fish also, which is actually very tasty if you like beer. So yeah, we need a few things, and we're gonna head over to the apartment.
Is it fine for you?
Well, for now, yes.
Ching.
Пойдем. Just before we head off to our apartment, we're gonna walk through the small Christmas market that is here in the center of Murmansk, because it's our last night here, so why not do it? Why not just check out the last bit of the scenery while it's already minus 21. It's nice, it's comfortable, you know, you get the true northern experience. And Nastia thought she's gonna now buy something, of course, which looks adorably cute. So why not? How do you feel? Are you happy?
Well, you probably see me now being all excited and cute.
Show us.
But yeah.
What did you buy there?
I've just had, just a second, I've just had the cutest, sorry.
Careful with it.
Cutest kitty in Murmansk. We were walking past the market, and I just saw her standing there and looking at me, and I just couldn't leave her there.
On our way to our apartment, we passed the Azimut Hotel there behind me. Now, interesting fact about the Azimut Hotel, that building is the tallest building in the whole of Murmansk. So Murmansk is not known for very tall skyscrapers, you know, so you'll see whenever you come here, it's just apartment buildings mostly that are tall and big. And then the Azimut building dominates all the other buildings, being the tallest one in the whole city. Quite fascinating. So after a great day of exploration, we walk back to the apartment to have a good night rest because tomorrow morning we need to get up early to pack our bags and check out of the apartment. Eventually then getting onto the airplane and flying back to Moscow. So good morning from our last day in Murmansk. This is our apartment that we stayed in. Never got a chance actually to show what it looks like, but we were quite busy with other activities. So anyway, we're moving out now, taking our luggage, gonna lock the door, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna stash our luggage at the train station, which is right next door, in one of the lockers, and then walk around for a few hours, later go eat our last meal in Murmansk at one of the restaurants, and then we need to head to the airport to fly back to Moscow. So yeah, let's enjoy the last few hours in this wonderful city in the Arctic.
Укажите время хранения и нажмите кнопку «Далее».
6 hours. 6 hours. Which number?
Well, so as to open the locker, we have an SMS with a link. Let's wait till it browses. And we have a code with the help of which we open the locker. Here it says that the code is accepted, and here is our storage for the next 6 hours.
Right, so all our stuff will be in storage for a few hours. Close it, lock it, and then we're gonna wander around for the last few hours and do the last bit of exploration of Murmansk. And yeah, then out of here, which is quite sad, you know. Not really a very happy feeling going back to Moscow. But you know, we gotta work. Life is life. Gotta bring in that extra money to, if you want to travel a bit more. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. So yeah, anyway, this is the Murmansk railway station. Haven't even shown it earlier when we arrived with the train. Quite a nice station. This is the central area. Look at the roof on top of there. Really cool Soviet era railway station actually. Anyway, so let's head outside and take a last walk through the cold streets. Today is minus 24 actually, so lovely. We're going to take a last walk to the Lenin icebreaker. We wanted to visit the icebreaker, go inside, but unfortunately you can't buy tickets online, and also apparently we've asked around and people stand for hours in the line to go in there, and because they only allowed a certain amount of people inside. So, you know, we're not going to waste time standing in a line since our last day in Murmansk. So, you know, Lenin is not going anywhere, Murmansk is not going anywhere, and I don't think we're going to leave Russia at all anytime soon. So, we'll be back. But, you know, we can at least go to Lenin and, you know, just take a last look at it, you know, from the shore. And have a look at the port, you know, the harbor, one last time. Actually, there's no line at Lenin, but another thing we didn't know, you can only enter certain times during excursion times, and the next excursion is a bit later, and unfortunately we have a reservation at the restaurant where we want to go and eat before we leave, so we won't make it. But like I said, you know, Lenin is not going anywhere, and we will definitely not go anywhere, and definitely be back in Murmansk. So another time, but let's admire the view. Still very spectacular, just observing it from the outside and having a look at the port itself. So behind me we have the Murmansk marine station. Now there are two berths, as they call it, of the marine station. The one is a pontoon, which is down the Kola Bay a little bit in Murmansk, and this one is the big seaport with its small embankment. Now in 1959, Lenin was the first icebreaker, nuclear icebreaker in the world that was launched from this specific sea station. And then since the year 2009, Lenin has been docked on a permanent basis right next to the sea station, and is now just a museum, since it's quite old and well, they have newer technology actually when it comes to the nuclear ships. But anyway, let's see if we can go inside. Quite an old Soviet building, so it can be quite interesting. Having a quick coffee inside the sea station to warm up from the cold outside. But this place is really amazing. I mean, if you look at that, the paintings, it's just spectacular. I mean, look at that. And they really look after the place. They clearly renovated the area. And like I've said before in one of my previous posts, that with the little they have in Murmansk, they still keep the place clean, look after it, you know, and try as much as they can. And it's great to see that, you know, that the city so far north, you know, the people are really proud of it, you know, looking after the place. What did you buy there?
Well, there is a cup, which is a souvenir from one of our friends, and there are the magnets. I bought two, one for our fridge, another for my parents' fridge, as a mark that we've been here.
Yeah, truly a remarkable building to visit. Love the paintings on the walls. So yeah, we're gonna head out now. Maybe another 20-minute walk, and we'll grab a taxi towards the restaurant that we want to eat. Apparently it's the second best restaurant in Murmansk. Well, worth visiting and also having some northern cuisine. Anyway, just one thing I want to point out. I love how the trees are literally covered with icicles and snow this morning, actually, more than the other mornings we've had. Yeah, and then it's off to Moscow, where the temperatures fluctuate from all of a sudden having minus 20 to all of a sudden having +1 the next morning. Typical Moscow life. Can't wait to be back. So we made it to Sarskaya Ochota. So let's see what it's like. The second best restaurant in Murmansk.
So, a quick story about what we have on our table right now. We see the urchins. Stefan has started, and also we have freshly baked bread. And this big thing in the middle is a fish platter where all kinds of northern fish are presented. As well, there are the dressings for the bread, and also we are enjoying a very tasty strawberry tea combined with green basil. So it's apparently a very, very nice meal we're having.
Right, so here we have some Kamchatka crab. So we need to first put on our lovely gloves, which will help. Da-da-da-da. And Kamchatka crabs come from Kamchatka, but in the Soviet Union they were imported to the area of Murmansk and Tereberka. Now they are no natural predators, and there are literally millions of them in the bottom of the ocean. So anyway, I think it's time to dig in, and we need to use one of these guys. So here we go. So look at this. I have some deer meat ribs served to me with some smoked, pine needles actually. Very tasty, and I think there's some cranberry sauce. So yeah, I think this is going to be tasty. I've never had deer ribs before. I love ribs, but deer ribs, something else.
And here comes my dish, which is black beef with baked vegetables. Also looks quite fascinating. So let's try.
So this is a very fantastic restaurant. Honestly, would recommend visiting. And you know what? Compared to the other one last night, Tundra restaurant, both of them are unique in their own special way. I would recommend visiting both Tundra restaurant and this one, Sarskaya Ochota restaurant. So yeah, we're waiting for a taxi. Look at the last light there in the background over the city of Murmansk with the hills and everything. Arctic light. So yeah, waiting for a taxi. We're gonna go to the train station quickly, get our baggage, and then we need to head to the airport to unfortunately fly back to Moscow. Sad to leave the north, really has a special place in my heart, but we'll be back again, definitely again, a few times, not just once or twice. So yeah, anyway, let's get going. Right, we got our bags. Taxi is about 5 minutes away. And let's get one last look at Murmansk. Sun setting there in the background. Or not the sun, actually, just the light. There's no sun. And then up there, you can't really see on this video, but Alyosha, the statue, is there looking over the Arctic. Lovely. Gonna miss this place, but we gotta get home and yeah, continue our lives there.
Вон там вообще, я думал, туда, там бывает. Хорошо макнули. Приправа такой, вот это вот как доширачная какая-то приправа.
Да.
И рядом куча всяких тарелочек. То есть ты как-то берешь этот рис в эту тарелочку, и такое все какое-то острое, все какое-то, блин, я не знаю.
Очень специфическая кухня, да.
Как они едят, да. И вот они сами по себе какие-то тоже, не знаю.
So we arrived at the airport of Murmansk. So yeah, very sad leaving. Honestly, mixed feelings, a lot of emotions as well. Not really feeling in the mood to go back to Moscow. Anyway, the small Arctic airport of Murmansk. Anyway, let's go inside, get our bags checked in, and relax a bit before the flight. So for the first time in our life, we are flying business class with Aeroflot. So I of course cannot afford business class by paying for it, but the thing is, I had a lot of air miles still with Aeroflot, like I mentioned now previously. So that is how I could purchase these tickets. So it's a first experience for both of us. Nastya already ordered some sparkling wine for us.
You also have one.
Well, I've got mine, so yes. And for the first time, actually, where's that menu? Show us the menu quickly. Yeah, there's actually a decent menu with food that's included. And a nice seat, a lot of space. So yeah, let's see what business class is like for first time experiences. And for people who normally flew economy in their whole life, I probably will never fly business class ever again. So, unless we're lucky. So, but anyway, the holiday was really worth it, and I think this is a good way to end it off with a 2.5-hour flight back to Moscow. So we are back in Moscow, heading up to the apartment, and this is the end of our wonderful journey in the Russian north, you know. So this brings us to the end of our journey. The great northern Russian exploration through all the way from St. Petersburg through Karelia all the way to the Arctic and the Arctic Ocean. What an adventure, it was really great. I miss the Arctic since I've only been there once, and this is the first time I'm back in 2 years. Nastya's first time. Would really want to go back. I mean, I think we both feel very connected to the place. Very sad being back in Moscow, but like I've mentioned a few times now already today, you know, we need to obviously come back. We have jobs. You know, if we want to travel further, we have another life to focus on as well. But it was really an eye-opening journey, and yeah, I hope we get back there soon again and maybe have some other adventures pretty soon. So yeah,
Looking forward to it.
if you enjoy our videos, please like, share and subscribe.